So
What was your mindset to retire and not come back? It wasn't an injury issue.
No,
Yeah.
no, it wasn't. And it's funny because everybody's like, he's going to keep wants to keep his word, Undertaker. And that's, Well, that's because I said that in the promo, and they don't understand that that some stuff has to be said strictly for pro wrestling promo stuff.
Show business.
And exactly.
Yeah. I don't think Undertaker would be mad at you if you came back. Right?
Mark would be like, brother, come back and make the money.
Yeah.
Mark don't care. You know that.
Let's do number 3.
Yeah, exactly. You know he don't care.
Right.
But no, it was honestly just wanted to come home, and the thing is also the reason I never did because I clearly could have come back just once or twice a year.
Daniel Bryan thing was right there if you wanted it.
All those things. It's just in the past, my experience has always been certainly for me, and everybody's a different talent, but for me. Every time I had even sort of a, I don't know how to say it because I've got a great working relationship with them now. But if I didn't sort of cut it off, my phone was going to ring. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that in a bad thing. It is a wonderful, great problem to have. But it's just every time somebody went down, my phone rang. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and through no fault of theirs, because I could have said no, I never felt right saying no. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I always, it's like, and because I know what, whatever, one of your main guys not showing up or not, I know that hurts. It puts you in a tough spot. And the thing is, I never wanted to do that with them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so, whether people, can believe it or not, that one of maybe one of the bigger drawbacks I've had is I am unbelievably loyal, and I've always been loyal to the WWE. And again, whether anybody wants to like that or dislike it, the fact is I've been there since I was 23, mm-hmm. and one of the reasons for that is because I'm loyal and they're loyal. You know what I mean? So it works both ways. I mean,
you and I have another similarity in that from the moment we stepped through the curtain for WWE, we never worked anywhere else.
Right?
Who can say that? Never. I've been the same since I started there in '99. I have never worked a match for anybody else other than Vince McMahon.
Right.
And you're the same.
Yeah.
And that's pretty rare.
It is. And the thing is, gosh, I did that in '88.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's one of those things. Right or wrong, they have always been there, mm-hmm. Dude. I mean, from the time I was 23. And I put them through a lot early, but everybody has to understand, like, it's been 15 years. You know what I mean? I've now been a better employee for longer than I was a trouble. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. So eventually you're gonna have to let that go. But regardless, they've always been there, and so I knew that there was only one way that I'd be able to, and you know what I mean. So I mean that in the most positive way.
I get it.
But it had to be a very adamant. I'm done. Mm-hmm. Again, in that respect, and like I said, now, and that was not having any idea, where they'd grow or whatever. Now the the performance center and stuff like that. I mean, so there's certainly other aspects, and also want to get away, try something else, clear your head, have some time, all those things.
Sure.
Just and I've never wanted to give the WWE anything but my best. Mm-hmm. I think I owe them that. And so, I knew I wasn't going to be doing that. I didn't want to just, sort of take money from them, so to speak. I didn't want to, have wrestling matches when I wasn't, giving my everything.
I think that's one of the things why Steve didn't want to come back, is he didn't want to come back and be a facsimile of Stone Cold Steve Austin. If he couldn't be, 1998 stomping a mud hole in you, Steve Austin, he didn't want to do it.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of us are like that. I mean, whether you want to, you think about Edge and Jay. I mean, I just think our generation is a little different than the other one. The one before us, just in that, we. And again, much big thanks to the WWE is that have the ability to brand ourselves as a certain whatever. And once we know that we can't continue to do that or don't have the desire to do that or go like, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Right. We're okay with going, we'll move on. And to their credit, as you know, there's still other things to do within
that umbrella.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I think and they don't get enough credit for that. You know, I can remember talking to Scott Armstrong, you know, again, even, you know, think about Billy Kidman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, having to learn, you know, all that. I mean, that used to be, you know, guys like Gorilla Monsoon doing that.
And when we were talking, it was the Kidman times the show. So back behind the curtain in the grill position, Pete Kidman is the guy who actually says 1 minute left, 2 minutes left. We got to cut here. We got to do that. It's a big responsibility,
huge responsibility. Yeah. And then when people like me and you who always go long, you know what I mean? He's got to completely reshuffle everything. You know what I mean? And make it work. You know, and so that is a dude that just and Scott Armstrong, again, these are guys that just used to be wrestlers, and then and then somebody said, well, look, this, you know, we need to pass this on. And I asked them, you know, and they're like, well, there's no way we can learn that. But the thing is, they go, yes, you can. Yeah. And they sit there and they help you and they teach you, and you know,
you're learning another trade within the business. Yeah,
exactly. And that's the thing that, again, we all sort of get the opportunity to do within the industry that we, you know and love. And again, I think that's I think that's cool, because again, there's, you know, for this line of work that there used to be no sort of guarantees or future in or dependability or any of that stuff. All those things, you know, they're not really there anymore. You know what I mean? Now, clearly, if you're if you're somebody, you know, I'm leaving or doing whatever, or you know, but
even that doesn't happen as much anymore now.
You still have, I was going to say, you still usually have the opportunity. You leave on good terms.
Yeah, before, like, the days of leaving, like, you know, I'm out of here, or unsafe working environment, or the screw job and all that stuff. It's amazing how the business has transformed in the last 10, 15 years, where it's very much it's a corporate world where there's room for everybody, and there's really, like, the locker room now, there's no bullies, there's no... I'm sure there's always political machinations, but it's not obvious anymore. Everyone's really nice to each other.
Right.
There's no one, you know, ribbing each other.
I always wonder, because I mean, I don't know, and even you, look, I mean, you know, whether I know you're, you know, pretty positive you're still hip and cool, but but there's probably stuff that still goes on that you don't know about, because we're just so not a part of that anymore. But we can both say, without equivocation, whatever it's called, that if it was going on like it used to, you'd still hear about it, because nobody can keep a secret in the wrestling business.
Right.
So I mean so from that standpoint, you would at least hear about it, even if it's, you know, not a thing that you do anymore, or a crowd you run with, or any of that kind of stuff. And the thing is, there's none of that. I mean, it is. And again, it always sounds like we're, you know, kissing up and stuff, but
it's really not, though. It's the truth.
It's just it's a lot more wrestler friendly environment than it was. And so again, you know, and I suppose, you know, somebody can always make the argument that, you know, you get beat enough, you'll eventually, you know, just if you only take one whip in a day, it feels like it's, you know, you know what I mean? It's, you know, like it's hallelujah time. But
they call it Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.